In a faraway land of constructions lived a tiny wrecking ball. Small for its size, he was constantly bullied by the larger sized wrecking ball.
Hi guys, want to rock and roll and be friends?
Look who it is. It's the Little Rock.
Why would anybody care about a little rock?
He has rocks of brains.
Hard head.
I'm tired of being nice guy. I feel so negative.
What a beautiful morning we have today.
I agree. The sun has a big smile on its face, and so do I. Let's go inside.
Going up.
Can you feel the vibes coming through?
I feel the energy coming from the building.
I really like your shirt. It looks so cool.
Thanks. That's kind of you. Did you get a new haircut? I like it.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Let's have a positive day.
Yes, I got breakfast for everyone.
Yeet, what a treat.
Later in the day. Ah! Here comes a negative wrecking ball.
OMG, what is that?
I am coming like a wrecking ball. I'm bringing negative vibes to all.
Watch out for the wrecking ball.
It's doomsday for you pitiful positivity. Ha 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 ha. What? Who are you?
Have no fear. I'm Super P.
Our hero.
Super Pizza Awesome Sauce.
Oh no! Let's go try to build it back up.
With positive actions and words. Let's go! Bang to beautiful.
Crash to courageous. Rumble to respect. Boom to brave. Hey guys, we're almost done. I can't wait.
Hurry up.
Courage.
Love.
Honesty. Hope.
Caring.
Gratitude.
Responsibility.
Respect. These words bring you positivity.
We finally did it! Yay!
I can't believe it. Success. Hey, Wrecking Ball, you need to change yourself or you could harm someone or yourself.
Who wants to change?
Change is for the better. Do you want to be alone for the rest of your life?
No, I don't want to be lonely. I want to treat people how I was treated when I was little.
Well then, if you want to change, then treat others how you want to be treated. Make sure to surround yourself with positive people to motivate you to be better. Remember, positivity always beats negativity.
Really? I can feel it within me? How do I look deep to find positivity?
Smile, laugh with, and be kind to everyone around you. When you are this positive wrecking ball, you will find positivity naturally.
I have a few friends small like myself who make me feel happy. They love me for who I am.
That's it. Do you talk to your home and school ohana? They can definitely help you find your diamond. Everyone has positivity deep within us. Being able to find it is the challenge. It's like finding diamonds in the rough. Did you know that diamonds represent eternity, love, and beauty? These precious stones are found deep in the Earth's core. Just like diamonds, positivity exists deep within us.
You're right, Super P. Positivity rocks.
Positivity is our pillar of strength.
We can start looking for positivity one grain at a time. I know we can't change overnight, but we can start somewhere. Smile and laugh often. Feeling happy is good for your heart and mind. Practice positive self-talk. Believe in what you say and think. Be resilient. Don't give up on yourself. Surround yourself with positive people and motivate to be a better person. Talk it out with parents, teachers, and counselors. And most importantly, treat others with respect.
Break down negativity and build up positivity around you.
Positivity builds up a better place for you and me. Sparkle and shine like a diamond.
Little fire ants.
The little fire ant.
Little fire ants.
Little fire ants
held a community meeting tonight. According to the
So, what are little fire ants? Well, little fire ants, or LFA for short, is one of many invasive species in Hawaii. So, what's an invasive species? Well, the definition of an invasive species is an alien species whose introduction does or is likely to cause economic or environmental harm or harm to human health. Little fire ants fall under all those categories. So, these amber little ants are invasive for their harm. But what is their harm? Well, to start off, they can infest people's farms, homes, furniture, and plants. This is quite problematic because they have the ability to sting people. So, if the ants are in your furniture, such as a bed, you could get stung. Additionally, stings from the ants can cause painful itchy welts that could last for weeks. Little fire ants not only sting people, but also beloved pets. So, if your poor pet gets stung in the eye, they could go blind. And unlike honeybees, little fire ants don't even die when they sting. Speaking of bees, little fire ants can infest beehives, and they can prey on their larvae. Eventually, they end up completely destroying the hive. Little fire ants not only prey on bees, but they also prey on small nesting birds. And in Hawaii, our native birds are already endangered and threatened by other invasive species. Little fire ants usually inhabit trees and plants. So if the tree gets shaken for any reason, they could fall onto an unsuspecting person or animal below. Little fire ants also sting when they're disrupted, so if you try to brush them off, they could start stinging you. If they're infesting farms, they can diminish agricultural productivity and bite workers. To add on, if there's many small ants that you can barely see biting all these people, it can affect if tourists would want to visit Hawaii, furthermore hurting the economy. The reason behind the name Little Fire Ant is because of two factors, its sting and its size. When the little fire ant stings, it causes a burning sensation like fire, hence the part of the name fire. Also, little fire ants are called little because of their minute size. They're about the thickness of a penny, or you can compare them to half the size of a sesame seed, which I would consider tiny. They're pretty much like moving dots. So if you've been bitten by something and never figured out what it was, it could have been a little fire ant, just because of how small they are. Not only is it small, but it's also slow moving, so that makes it even harder to spot. So how are little fire ants a threat if they don't spread quickly and move slowly? Well, they can spread pretty easily because of, well, people. During holidays, such as Christmas for example, little fire ants spread. This is because little fire ants can be inside of any plant, such as the poinsettia. So when you bring this little guy or gift it to someone, your new infested plant spreads little fire ants to the area. This is very problematic because of the already mentioned harm they cause. One example of little fire ants spreading is at the Punahou Carnival's Plant Sale 2024. Little fire ants were detected in the plants, and the Hawaii Department of Agriculture, or for short HDOA, isolated around 400 possibly infested plants. There are many examples of an invasive species that wasn't paid attention to, that developed into something pretty much impossible to eradicate. One prime example of this is the coconut rhinoceros beetle, or CRB for short. Coconut rhinoceros beetles are pure black and are at a size of 2 inches. These 2-inch menaces devastated, and still are devastating, our Hawaiian islands. So if little fire ants get to this point, it could be catastrophic. They already cause a lot of harm, and they aren't even really widespread on the other islands. So imagine if they got out of hand. So how can you help? There are multiple ways you can help prevent little fire ants, but one of the main ways you can help is by testing your homes and your newly bought plants. This takes 4 simple steps. First, grab any type of sticks. Chopsticks, coffee stirrers, it doesn't matter. I'll be using popsicle sticks. Now you need your bait. This can be peanut butter or mayonnaise. Grab your stick and coat it in a thin layer of your bait. Now you need to leave your sticks out. Lay your baited sticks by plant bases, on your plants, and even inside of your plants. Wait for an hour for the ants to come. After waiting, collect your sticks along with the ants into a sealable bag. Now pop that bag into the freezer overnight to hopefully terminate the ants. And once it's done, take your bag out of the freezer. Lastly, you need to mail your sample to know if the ants you got are actually little fire ants. Write your name, the date, and your contact information on the bag. Grab an envelope and you can write the address of either your island's invasive species committee or your local ant lab. After you write your address, put your sample into the mail. Now you can mail it off and wait for the results. And even if you don't test your homes, you can help by just spreading information. This could be through a presentation or just a simple conversation. We may never undo the past, but we can change the future. And if we try, maybe, just maybe, we can stop this little fire ant.
Plastic pollution has been one of Earth's terrible environmental problems for decades. Millions of microplastics are washed into the ocean every year. But did you know that plastic bottles are not the only reason for this issue? The textile industry, or also known as the fashion industry, is one of the biggest factors of pollution today. That t-shirt you bought from the store yesterday, did you check what it was made of? The majority of clothes produced today are created with materials such as polyester, which is made from plastic. As a result of fast fashion, the textile industry produces about 100 billion pieces of clothing annually. Most textile scraps are sent to low-income countries with no better way to dispose of them than to throw them in the trash. This creates landfills of clothing that pile up year after year. And synthetic fibers can take up to hundreds of years to break down. Bits of fabric from our clothing continuously end up in the sea, harming marine life and contributing to 35% of the ocean's microplastics. Even when we wash our clothes, the ones made from these harmful chemicals will inevitably end up in waterways and the ocean. Polluted waters can contaminate bodies of water for miles. So the drinking water in some places can contain some of the toxicity of microplastics. This can cause health issues such as cancer and imbalance of hormones in the people and animals who drink it. Another negative effect that the textile industry has is that it wastes so much water just to create a single piece of clothing. About 79 billion cubic meters of water is used worldwide to make new clothes. When our clothing is given color in the factory, it will spread their toxic chemicals into the water that is used to dye them. Studies show that dyeing fabrics and other chemical treatment is responsible for 20% of the global amount of wastewater. Also, when textile waste goes through the water drainage systems, it can get stuck. Blocking the flow of the water, it can lead to floods. When fabrics like polyester, nylon, and acrylic break down in the environment, they also release toxic carbon into our ozone and contribute to the continuous concern of climate change. So the next time you go shopping for clothes, check that it is made from sustainable materials. This sweatsuit is made from Ulex, which is made from natural rubber latex. This jacket is made of Tencel, a fabric made from wood pulp. This blouse is also made from Tencel. This dress is made from organic cotton, which is sustainably sourced from non-genetically modified cotton plants. This blouse is made from linen, which is made from the tufty parts of a flax plant. This shirt is made out of recycled polyester. This is okay to buy because the company didn't create any new polyester. You can even go to a thrift store that sells used clothing. You are sure to uncover some pretty good finds. When you grow out of your clothes, don't throw them away. Instead, donate them to charity or thrift stores. Remember, the choices that we make will determine the future of our Earth.
I felt lonely when my friends posted on social media without me.
The time I felt lonely was when I was missing a day at school, and when I came back, all my friends were dressed up for Halloween without me.
I felt lonely a few times in my life, mainly when I just moved schools and it was kind of hard to make friends and find friends.
When a person is lonely, they can actually increase this hormone called cortisol, which increases stress actually in the body. So that cortisol that they have, that they develop from being stressed out, will impact their physical development. Yeah. It also affects the brain, where the person who goes through loneliness actually feels like they're craving for it. They're craving for more social interaction with other people. And then lastly, they can start to think negatively about themselves, about other people, and just their interaction with everything around them. Yeah.
Hey sis, can you pick me up from school? Today isn't a very good day.
As you're growing up, I believe that if you go through a period of loneliness for a long period of time, and this is like years, this is not just months, it can affect how you handle things in your life. When you're faced with difficult situations with your friends or your family, I think it'll have a huge impact on how you're gonna respond or react to those situations. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that science test was so hard. I swear I failed.
Hey guys.
I know. Oh, sorry, we were talking. Oh, that's okay.
Through my experience, through my 30 some odd years teaching, again, body language has a huge role. If you just people watch, yeah, you can tell, or you can just pick them out. Who are these students that are going through loneliness? Yeah, a lot of times they would bury themselves in a book, or they would just sit in a corner and just be with themselves. Or sometimes they try to make friends, and when they try to make friends, they have a negative impact from that, because their social skills, I would use the word has been retarded, which means that it goes backward instead of forward. A lot of times if I would see a student like that, I would try to talk to them, just talk story, and to see where they are, how they are, just get to know them basically. But yeah, loneliness is not where anyone should be.
Something that made me feel better was when I found new friends in the new year.
But to make me feel better, I dressed up with my other friend instead, and we were minions.
I made friends and I socialized with people and I had friend groups. It was kind of easy for me though, because I wasn't moving whole schools, I was just kind of moving campuses. But it was still a major change. But I overcame it pretty quickly, I feel like. And looking back, I feel like I did a pretty good job of making friends.
According to Gallup News, 1 in every 5 people are shown to suffer from loneliness.
the rate of loneliness edged up to 20% in the past 2 years. Also, according to mentalhealth.org, it says the leading cause of loneliness in young people is from not being able to see their friends. Loneliness can also lead to depression if the situation keeps getting worse. Loneliness is a very big problem here today, and it should always be taken seriously. If you know anyone experiencing loneliness, feel free to call Hawaii Cares 988. Remember, this is a feeling that anyone can have, so always check up on people to have a little chat.
Friends try to convince me into doing something that is not worth doing or not right.
They're looking for a place to fit in.
Peers that may not be the best example.
We really care about what people think of us.
They're at a young adolescent age where they can be easily influenced by whoever they look up to, depending if that's like bad or good.
It can happen at school, it can happen at home, maybe with a sports group.
My name is Callie Weber and I'm in the 8th grade. Peer pressure means being pushed into a situation that you don't really want to be in. They don't really know who they are yet, and they haven't found the standards to respect themselves yet. A time when I was peer pressured to do something was when I was at a gathering with my family, and the other side of my family that doesn't go to church or have the same beliefs as my family asked me if I would smoke with them, and I said no, because I have my own standards, and I told them that, and then after they understood. Some tips I would give teens to help with peer pressure is to understand who you are and only care about what you think and your own standards.
My name is Kalapana Salvador and I am in 8th grade. But peer pressure to me means having somebody or my friends try to convince me into doing something that is not worth doing or not right and will affect me negatively. Peer pressure is such a big problem for teens because in teen stage, we really care about what people think of us. So whenever people try to make us do something, we always think that doing it will make them like us, and we really don't care about the effects on us. I've been the dude to probably peer pressure others. Honestly, teens could handle peer pressure better by just not really caring about what other people think. Because when you care what other people think of you, you're drawing in the wrong people. So in reality, you should just be yourself so the right people like you for the right reasons.
Aloha, my name is Kekala Campbell. I'm the 8th grade dean at Kamehameha Schools Maui, and I've been a counselor for about 20 years, and I've been at Kamehameha Schools Maui for 15. I think peer pressure is just basically how students are influenced by their peer groups. I think students can be faced with peer pressure in a lot of different areas in life. I also think it can happen a lot online, so I think that's a big thing that students have to deal with nowadays. I think that, when students are unsure of what to do in a situation, sometimes they will give off some signs that are not normal for their, what their character is usually about. By the time I find out that something's happening or impacting a student, we're not really seeing the initial signs of them experiencing the peer pressure, but more, how they're feeling about the situation after it has happened. For a counseling perspective, the students will come in after maybe they didn't make the decision that they feel aligns with their values, so they're asking for help after the experience has happened. Yeah. If it's negative peer pressure, I think students can rely on each other. Hopefully they have a close friend that is a trusted confidant where they can lean on them for advice. If your close friend is the one that's pressuring you, I think it's important to really think about, what's important to your family, your own values, and make sure that whatever decision you make, aligns with those things. And if you have the time, I think peer pressure happens pretty quickly sometimes. So, one thing that students can do is maybe give themselves some time to think through what's happening, so they can make the best decision for them. Yeah. I think it's up to the students to seek out help. Of course, we tell students to look for a trusted adult, whether that's a counselor, a parent, a coach. But again, a lot of these things will happen when you're only around your friends. So, to really think about what's best for you is important. And then again, if you're in a group and there's other students that are kind of questioning what's happening, I think it's important to lean on those friends that you trust and share the same value system as you do. I also would like to just say, peer pressure can be a positive thing. I think a lot of times we think of peer pressure as being negative and forcing our students to do something they shouldn't. But on the flip side of that, we can push each other into positive experiences and opportunities. So I think you can go both ways. But in the end, stay true to yourself, stay true to your values and what your family would be proud of.
If you or someone you know is being peer pressured, call 1-877-HOPE-123. Your worth isn't defined by the opinions of others.
The Kaiola Summer Program is run by the non-profit called Mauliola Ke'ehi, located in the Wahipana of Ke'ehi. Mauliola Ke'ehi's mission is to promote transformative healing through understanding the frequencies, vibration, and mana of the honua that our kupuna utilize to achieve Mauliola. This summer program encourages students from the ages of 10 to 17 to connect with their inner selves through cultural mana'o, kilokino, environmental education, as well as daily art projects.
What's your internal weather?
Sunny. Small. Sunny. Like really windy. Tsunami.
Every morning, the students began their day with what they called kilokino. This is when everyone would gather up to take around 10 to 15 minutes to practice finding peace within their minds and bodies. Auntie Kehalani teaches the importance of hanu, which means to breathe in Hawaiian. The students then learn breathing techniques to calm themselves down. They would also take time to kilo, or observe the external factors, like the winds and the waves, as well as the internal factors, like their internal feelings or internal weather. They then do various stretches to fully relax their bodies and to build deeper connections with themselves. After finding peace through these exercises, the students learn about different mo'olelo each day, as well as the kumu lipo, which is one of the guiding principles of the program. In addition to learning about the Kainde Aina, they also got to learn more about themselves, like how they got their names and what it means. Before boarding the canoes, the students line up in the water to be kai to purify themselves in the kai, as well as practice deep breathing. This is then followed by chanting Eho Mai, while absorbing the minerals and energy in the water to connect themselves to the kupuna vibrations, seek guidance, knowledge, and gratitude, and clear their minds. Before paddling, all of the students are given a paddling lesson. Everyone works together to help paddle the canoe to the beautiful reef of Ke'ehi. Here on the reef, the students have the freedom to learn about, explore, and understand the biodiversity of the sea creatures. They were able to collect these creatures in look buckets so they could share their findings with everyone. After the students venture amongst the reefs and the waves, Uncle Kupihea, who has his MFA in art, teaches the students about the mo'olelo of Puhi o Laumeki. The students got to express their creativity and artistic skills through this 3D clay art project. The students also had the opportunity to have a lesson from Nakoa Gu, a marine scientist, to learn more about the scientific method of transits. They learned different methods in the water and recorded and captured their observations. Able to visit Hokulea and Hikionalia. They were hosted by Uncle Kiala, who was a crew member and heard his amazing stories and experiences with the Polynesian Voyaging Society.
Okay, so what is your name?
My name is Akea and I'm 9 years old.
My name is Hina Sanders.
And how old are you?
9.
My name is Ohomairangi. I'm 11 years old and I'm from the Big Island and in the Ahupua o Hangalo.
Okay, what are you learning in the program that you really enjoy?
Like the stories about the Monas.
We sculpted.
It's probably the art because I know that Uncle Kupihea is a really good artist and we have a lot of pictures of his drawings.
This is your first year in our summer program. How are you enjoying it?
The rateness of stars is 10 out of 10.
I loved it. I thought it was really, really fun.
Once I got in the water and learned how to become how to paddle, I learned that
enjoy water sports.
Ina ai kākou I ka malama kupono ana a ho'olaha kupono ana I kēia mau ike. E ola no ana.
Nā kaua e pale me ka ihe.
During the annexation of Hawaii, our language and our culture suffered immensely, especially when English became more prominent.
We understand that our kupuna endured the pain, the sorrow, and the assimilation that they had to go through with America taking over.
You know, the rules were just don't speak Olelo, speak English. And so for many years, it led to a great drop in Hawaiian language speakers.
Ma ia wā ma muli o ka pāpā I ana o ka olelo Hawaii. Ma laila no e ike ai ka ho'ololi ana I ka no'ono'o o ka Hawaii.
It was heavy for our kanaka, for the Hawaiian people, to lose their voice, to lose their olelo.
And during that time period, it was so heartbreaking to see that the outside forces tried to stamp out Hawaiian language, Hawaiian culture, anything to do with Hawaiiana.
Tell me more about our Hawaiian history. Even though I went to Kamehameha schools, my father didn't really want to talk about it because for him and my mother, it was really important to speak English and be American. And
you know, even my tutu would talk about how she was forbidden to speak Hawaiian in school, in public, even in her own household with her own husband, my Portuguese great-grandfather. Learning about our kupuna, how they were punished for speaking Hawaiian in school, writing on the chalkboard 100 times saying that I will not speak Hawaiian, I will not speak Hawaiian.
Tears will come from each other's eyes as they...
Ultimately, there are just a few gatekeepers deciding what makes it to the screen for mass consumption. And so there's definitely been a misrepresentation in the media, without a doubt.
Maloko nona e o kona ho'opa'ahau I ana, he wā e ano paipai, he wā e kahea paha aku I ka lehulehu e kupa'a I nā mea kupono.
Native Hawaiians we see are now speaking up louder than ever before, saying, this is wrong, we need our culture back. That goes hand in hand with Hawaiian because, as I said, language is culture.
And being a Native Hawaiian journalist doesn't necessarily mean you're going to cover it in this way or in that way or another way. You know, it's our job to cover as many perspectives as possible. And I broke down because I was feeling the pressure of like, I'm Native Hawaiian, am I supposed to be covering this in a certain way? Am I, you know, are people attacking me because I'm not doing my job? And
to do that, you really have to filter out your own emotions, how that affected the language and the culture. I think it basically diluted it. And so we're always progressing and trying to be more accurate. there's much more of a focus on the language and being accurate in our language and caring more about the places and the names. And instead of, calling it Diamond Head, it's Le'ahi. And even our own reporters, calling it Kinau Street instead of Kina'u Street. And you'll pass them by in the bathroom and you'll be like, dude, it's Kina'u Street, come on. We're making an effort to find out the Hawaiian names and say them properly.
Growing up in Hawaii, we learn these lessons and it's a responsibility to know what happened. People now are just encouraged and energized to not only learn about Hawaiian culture, but speak the language. If you're gonna talk the talk and walk the walk, they go hand in hand.
He kumu olelo Hawaii au, ma ke kula ki ike o Kauai.
Na olua e ho'omaka i kiau. Au e na ie o kiau I hala.
We teach specific structures, words, vocabulary, phrases.
A'o no ia na ano hopuna olelo na ano ana lula o ka mea nui no'u o ia ka no'o ana ma ka olelo Hawaii. Ho'ike wau I na haumana. E ai I ka ho'oponopono ia ana mai. E ai I ke a'o ana. E ai I ka ho'onui ike ana. I hiki ke ho'ikaika ke anu o ka no'o ia kākou e ho'opuka nā aku I ka olelo Hawaii.
E nana mai ia mākou nā pula o mea o e polone.
He wahi ke ia e ai wale I ke keiki e ho'opuka I ka olelo. Me ka ole o ka namu a ke kahi, no kia ha'aale oe ho'opuka I ka pelekania, no kia ha'aale oe e a'o mai I ka pelekania, pono e a'o I ka pelekania.
That is the sole purpose of the immersion programs such as that, and how they've extended into the, all the way up until the secondary level to really malama our communities, malama our keiki.
And children all over Hawaii are speaking Olelo.
E hele ana oi ka hui ke hula I kia po? A ole au ike. E hele ana oi? Ai, pono oi e hele mai me ia'u.
And not only are we sharing Olelo Hawaii, we're sharing the hula, which brings those words that are written hundreds of years ago back to life. There's a phrase everybody uses, is hula is life. And as a hula dancer, I believed it. But as a kumu hula, I'm truly living it. These are just stories I'm sharing that were passed down, but storytelling and documenting things that happened help to save and preserve all that our kupuna endured.
These hula were passed down from generations, and these are ancient hula that are still perpetuated today, and it's because of those kupuna that stood their ground and were steadfast in our traditions that, they're still perpetuated till this day.
Lili'u was held imprisoned in the Iolani Palace. I cannot even begin to think about the emotions and the feelings that she had gone through. But for me, as a teacher of hula, I try to teach my haumana about that part of Hawaiian history, because it does define who we are today. When we look at a dancer and we see them for what they are presenting on stage, and they look as if they are perfection, everything that surrounds them is knowledge. There is so much wisdom all around that one olapa. That dancer has put in a lot of time and hours and energy to be able to become the storyteller.
We do learn the language, we do learn the poetry, or what type of foot movements are combined with the hand gestures to tell the story. But it also not just limits us to the hula, but to life, to other traditional practices that our kupuna, perpetuated. When we think about hula, we think about, okay, what are we wearing? What kinolau of laka that we have to go out and gather, such as the palapalai. And we become stewards, we become like konahiki, and understanding that our place in the forests where we gather, we have to malama, we have to take care of these spaces.
It is my kuleana to use my being to tell the stories of our ancestors and our kupuna. We cannot lose our identity. I don't need to say Hawaiian is not a dead language. I know it's living. It lives every day here at Halau Kapahula o Hinano, and I am just one halau.
He mau kanaka, hoi hoi, mākau kau I kia o ana I ko lelo Hawaii. A makau I ka ho'opuka. Ai makau I ka ho'opuka. Malaila no e ola I kākou.
If it matters to Hawaii, it matters to me. And I just want to help people to celebrate their culture, understand their culture. And you can't do it without the language.
Hi, I'm Hannah Pila, and I am a co-owner and principal consultant of Haas Sustainability. Maui Huliau is a local nonprofit that focuses on environmental literacy for students through all sorts of programs, whether it's filmmaking, leadership, or to help teachers develop educational materials to continue to teach students and get them excited about the environment.
Aloha, my name is Hi'ile Casco. I'm from Wai'ehu and Kaupo, Maui, and I am an alumni of the first ever Maui Huliau filmmaking program, as well as the Huliau Youth Leaders Program. The reason that I wanted to start Maui Huliau Youth Leaders was that I and my peers had so many what I thought were great ideas of ways we wanted to enact change in the community. And I think, you know, as youth, sometimes we obviously look to adults and other community members for guidance of how to actually pursue those ideas and put them into action.
Aloha, my name is Kiana Liu. I am a 2019 alumni of the Maui Huliau Foundation, and I currently work with them for their Huliau filmmaking program as their program assistant. Programs like Maui Huliau Foundation is so important to the youth on Maui. I've seen the benefits of going through their programs and how it has benefited me as a person. Not only just learning about the environment here in Maui, you know, you get to learn more things about like plastic pollution. That was one of my topics that I learned a lot about that I never knew about before. And that led me to have opportunities like going to the POPs Youth Summit in California.
So Maui Huliau Foundation completely changed my life as a young student in high school. I didn't know my passion was the environment or sustainability, and Malia, the executive director, just really made me feel super empowered in choosing a project that would benefit the community. They call it the Leadership Council. It is 100% that. They make youth feel like leaders. And as someone that's 15 years old, you're not always treated like an adult or like a leader. And so having that opportunity to feel like I was making a difference and able to call the shots was extremely empowering for me.
So in May 2013, when I was a Maui Huliao youth leader, my specific cohort of peers and students created a Maui Eat Local challenge. And essentially it was, I think, a 6 or 7 day completely eat local experience where we stayed together on a farm in Haiku and visited several, local farms across the island. And every single meal, snack, and drink that we consumed during that week was fully local. So if it couldn't be from Maui, then it was at least from a farm in Hawaii. It was a really cool experience. It was a project and idea that all of us had together, and being able to collaborate and network with other farmers and, really eat local and say that we did that for 4 to 5 days.
So the Huliao Alumni Council, the purpose of the council is to give back to Maui Huliao and support Maui Huliao Foundation in any way that we can. And there's lots of different programs that we run to help facilitate that experience. One of them is providing feedback and insight into programs. As students that have taken the programs, we have a first-hand experience of what works really well and what could potentially be changed as those programs evolve over time. So a big part of our work is fundraising, finding different ways to share about Maui Huliao Foundation and fundraise for different programs. And so one of the things we do every year is we do a wreath making workshop in December where we go to a local farm and we do a service project, whether it's planting native species or doing weeding and other work, and then we're able to pick materials from that farm, and then we host a wreath making workshop for the community with all local plants.
So I definitely think Maui Huliao Foundation is an important program to exist for youth on Maui, to educate them about their island, but also to give back to our community and to educate ourselves about what we can do and how we can get involved.